So the old side, new side controversy occurred in colonial Presbyterianism between 1741 and 1758, with a couple of stages in between. But it was a controversy that grew out of the first, I don't like to call it great, pretty good awakening. But that's a phrase I get from an old friend and now deceased, Leo Rebuffo, historian at George Washington University. So it's not my own, but I do think it's a useful way of thinking about the way we talk about events, and we say it's great. Well, there was a Great Depression. How great was the Great Depression? Anyway, we tend to think, oh, the Great Awakening, well, it must be really great. But for those who opposed the awakening, it wasn't so great. So that was the old side. They were concerned that the people promoting revival were violating all sorts of Presbyterian procedures, preaching outside of bounds, going into the town of another church and preaching there without the permission of the pastor, ordination requirements requiring ministers to give a conversion narrative, and even questions, that related to piety as well. Did someone need to be converted to be a minister? Old side would have said, well, of course they got to be a Christian, but is conversion the only way to become a Christian? Or could you be a covenant child, baptized, reared in the church, make profession of faith with not ever having a conversion experience? And so those were the issues going on. And in the heat of the moment, the pro-revivalists were very concerned and very convinced that they were right, and probably a tad self-righteous about it. So the old side said, no, we'd like to back away from this. The churches went their separate ways, or the synods went their separate ways, reunited in 1758 with a plan of union that actually few people don't study. And if you do look at it, it's a curious document. I'll just put it that way. But it was able to heal this breach in the church, and the next stage of the Presbyterian Church is to form the first General Assembly in 1789. So this is a very early stage of the church. The Presbyterianism in America only started in 1706. So the church is in its adolescence, as it were, as it's working these events out, circumstances.